Speaking with some of the residents, they saw the flames, they saw the resident run out, and now obviously you can see a lot of people still here on the street congregating around. Yeah, John, Streeter actually walking out of these doors here at the Rock Island County Jail, and when we asked for her thoughts on the charges, she refused to speak with us. Hi, Lisa. Would you want to answer a couple questions for us on camera really quick? No? Okay. We've seen several pelicans since we've been here, and they basically just coast along from the dam until they get about so far down the river, and then they'll fly back to the start of the dam and repeat the process over and over again. And as you can see, the river is still very much so covered with ice, but as you can also see, some certain portions of the river are uncovered, and it's pretty much flowing water. Residents say this curve is dangerous, as when cars like the one you just saw come up over this hill, they can't see the cars in the other lane. You can see this reads 122.7 degrees. Crews have actually been called to the bridge twice this month for mental health scenarios where people were kind of near the edge of the bridge and looked like they were going to jump off. Snowfall like this can make for a great winter view. However, it presents a huge challenge to some Moline residents who can't shovel themselves. This store is on the list of one of the ones that's going to close. So what are your thoughts on that?
Like I said, I would probably cry.
Here at Handy True Value in Rock Island, you can see they have all of their salt kind of just laid out on these pallets. Now, since I've been here just about 30 minutes or so, I did an interview with one of the staff members inside, and I've seen a lot of the other staff members bringing out several pallets and a lot of these bags to people's cars. And city officials say the house that you're seeing above my shoulder here is part of the 38 houses that are set to go on this plot. Yeah, hey James, the roads are definitely still pretty slick out here. We are in Rock Island on 7th Avenue. And health officials say that could mean the difference between life and death.
Well, the first day I met Trudy, she was outside in my yard. She just showed up at my house and she was doing cartwheels and skipping and jumping up and down. And I said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Yeah, my name's Trudy. I live down the street. Do you have any kids I can play with?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And I sent my kids out. This neighborhood is where Trudy Appleby was last seen nearly 29 years ago. Neighbors, family, and friends say Thursday's arrest is a long-awaited step towards justice. Trudy was our neighbor, and she was best friends with my daughter, Amber. The last night she was here, I remember it like it was yesterday.
So I walked her home the night before, and we did our nightly ritual because her driveway was really long and through woods. So I'd walk her halfway down it and we'd both turn around and run the opposite directions. She'd yell to me that she made it to her house and I'd yell to her that I made it to her street. We said see each other tomorrow, and tomorrow never came.
Carlson's daughter and Trudy's childhood best friend, Amber Dunlap, says she's carried guilt for decades because on August 21st, 1996, the day Trudy went missing, the two were supposed to meet that morning, but Amber overslept.
As a child, a lot of that weight fell onto my shoulders because I thought if I had woke up to my alarm on time and called her, because we had plans that day, she'd still be here. But as an adult, I realized that it had nothing to do with me. It wasn't my fault.
Appleby's disappearance sparked years of searches, vigils, and billboards keeping her case in public view. On Wednesday, a Henry County grand jury indicted 50-year-old Jamison Albert Fisher of East Moline on 3 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of concealment of homicidal death.
This is the door that we needed to open to lead her family to the truth of where she can be found.
Prosecutors allege Fisher strangled Trudy. Her remains have not been found.
The pain I watched them go through, I've now experienced.
If it exists, we will do everything we can to connect them.
World Cancer Day highlights the impact of cancer on patients, families, and caregivers. At Cancer Support Community Iowa and Northwest Illinois at Gildas Club of the Quad Cities, support extends beyond medical treatment through free programs focused on connection and community.
So we have a 3:30 Connecting Through Cancer support group.
It's personal for Lexi Doxey, who's been with the organization for 3 years after losing her grandfather to cancer.
I see firsthand, how our services make a difference, whether it's offering somebody a free meal from our freezer program, offering them a wig, or just seeing them laugh together in an exercise class or before support groups. I think what we have here is so special to our community.
Now here at Gildas Club, you can see several wigs along this wall, and these were actually donated by people who have a connection to somebody they know with cancer. For patients like Marcia Jones, that sense of connection can be life-changing.
I wished in the beginning, when I first got that diagnosis, I had come here So I would have been able to talk or learn more before I started going through everything.
But support also continues through local healthcare providers like Mercy One Genesis. Registered nurse Katie Bailey has spent nearly 2 decades caring for patients and watching family members face the disease themselves.
Just letting them know that they're not in it alone, that we are a team, we are there behind them to help support them through this.
Tonight, protests growing in Minneapolis after 2 U.S. citizens were killed by ICE agents. Demonstrators staging sit-ins at Target stores demanding accountability. Now, Target says it doesn't have an agreement with immigration enforcement agencies. Meanwhile, a court challenge to remove ICE agents from Minnesota hits a roadblock. Tonight, outrage growing as new details emerge from the millions of newly released Justice Department records on convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Amongst the thousands of photos, these never-before-seen images of former Prince Andrew, who was stripped of his royal titles last year over his relationship with Epstein, now seen here, crouched over a young woman, her face redacted. We're looking at about 17,000 power outages in the Quad Cities, Illinois area, and it is also now affecting the Quad Cities, Iowa, with about 1,600. And in Moline specifically, we're looking at about 2,500 outages. A lot of people without power, especially in our area, but even as you go, as we were talking earlier about our southern hometowns, a lot of outages out there, especially in Lee County, Iowa. As we mentioned, a third of people without power. We're tracking some light snow showers and some freezing drizzle in our area tonight, as you might have seen if you've been outside. Peter, where are we at with current conditions and what people can expect out there on the roads? We're issuing a weather impact alert for tomorrow. Weather anchor Peter Warner joins us now to break that all down. Peter, do all these, house fires and everything we're seeing, is that anything to do with conditions outside?